How about this? Big steel girder, we weld it to a truck, we drive straight at Buster, and bam!
Ouch!
For the final knockout round, they're heading to Alameda to definitively ramp this myth up once and for all.
Brian, thank you so much for bringing your truck out. Now tell me what this thing can do.
This truck is about 20,000 pounds plus loaded. It's turbo diesel, it can reach speeds of 80 miles an hour, and it's ready to take down Buster.
I think this is the right truck. So you guys felt like the pendulum wasn't good enough. Well, this is what I have for you. What I have here is a 600-pound steel beam that I'm about to weld to this 13,000-pound truck.
It's a simple build. One giant girder welded to one turbocharged truck.
All right, time to fight.
And voila, mass plus speed equals the behemoth of all battering rams. While further down the range, Grant sets up his laser quick release and Carrie erects the structure for Buster's last stand.
Now, I've built a nice little balanced structure so that Buster can hang, and then I'm painting the entire thing yellow, maybe a little bit of pink, so that you can see it from far, far away, because it's gonna be a really long run-up.
Once Carrie's hangman harness is complete, it's time to guide that girder right into Buster's reinforced guts. And they're going to start at a bone-crunching 40 miles per hour.
We are about to hit Buster with 4,000 times the power as any boxer to see whether or not we can knock his socks off. I have a feeling we're gonna knock his legs off before his socks come off, but let's see what happens.
Remember, Buster is wearing the socks of least resistance on his human-like legs. He'll be standing on all 180 pounds of his own weight, and at impact, he'll be hit with 4,000 times the force of a heavyweight boxing punch. Will that be enough for the socks to fly?
All right, getting into position.
This is human-like surface with the socks of least resistance, Buster on his own weight.
Wait, go at 40 miles an hour.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, coming at you.
The truck speeds down the track at 40 miles per hour.
Come on, do it.
Triggers the quick release. Contact.
Ow! Didn't knock his socks off, but it knocked his hand off.
His hand flew off.
But his socks are still on. We nailed him.
The giant girder made contact, but it still wasn't a socks-off knock. However, there is good news.
They almost came up in the heel.
It almost lifted him out of his sock.
Well, you know what that means. We have to ramp it up.
Yeah, you know what? This will go 65 with all this weight. 65 miles an hour might be enough to knock his socks off.
Let's do it.
Do it.
We're going to hit him at 65 miles an hour with this steel beam. And it's going to be not 2 or 3 times more powerful than a human boxer. It's going to be 10,000 times more powerful than that boxer. Surely, this has got to be the thing that knocks him out of his socks.
Shirley is right. If 10,000 times the force of a boxer can't knock the socks off Buster, then it can't be done.
I think we've really got a chance here.
We got all the elements.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Let's hit him at
65 miles an hour.
Here we go. This is the main event.
Let's see if we can knock Buster's socks off.
The truck takes its position, then it's pedal to the metal
50 miles an hour.
as it thunders down the track.
Hold on to your socks, Buster. 65 miles an hour.
Houston, we have liftoff.
We knocked his socks off. Dude! Oh my God! We knocked his socks off. I turned around, all I could see was like an explosion, and then I saw 2 socks floating down to the ground.
There you have it. One 30 million Newton knock, one de-socked Buster, and 3 ecstatic Mythbusters. But one question remains.
My big question is, what came off first, the socks or the feet?
Oh, his whole face flipped up.
Look.
Yes, the socks came off. Look at that.
That's great. Right on.
They didn't get dragged off.
No.
They got knocked off. After the first time I heard this boxing myth, I thought to myself, who knows, maybe it's possible. But after we first tested it, I thought there is no way you can knock somebody's socks off. Until now, after seeing what I just saw, where we hit Buster, knocked him out of his socks, it's possible. I mean, a boxer couldn't do it, but we could.
So after 20-some-odd sock tests, multiple punches, does the phrase, knock your socks off, still hold true? Yes, as a matter of fact, you can knock someone's socks off. The caveat is that it's going to take 10,000 times what a boxer could do. So yes, you can use the phrase, but use it lightly.
Up next, the Mythbusters head headlong into a head-on collision.
I think the difference is pretty clear. The question is, when we smack two cars together at 50 miles an hour, are they going to look like that? Or are they going to look like this? We're going to smash two more cars just to find out.
It's the final act of Carmageddon. Two cars in a 50-mile-per-hour head-on collision.
Here's how this breaks down. At this end of the track, the yellow car.
And at this end sits the orange car.
And here in the middle, these two cars will meet in a 50-mile-per-hour handshake of destruction that will hopefully answer all the questions we have about the crash forces involved.
Adam's predicting those answers will give the thumbs up to Newton.
This one has really been a brain bender, but I have a prediction for this final experiment. I think that when all is said and done, it's going to prove that Jamie was wrong and that the fans were actually right. That when these two cars hit at 50, they're going to look like the car that hit the wall at 50, not the one that hit the wall at 100.
And Jamie agrees.
Based on our small-scale testing, what we should see at the end of this head-on collision should look pretty much like the 50-mile-an-hour crash against a wall.
It's crunch time for a force impact. Will the full-scale test prove the fans right?
That's it. Well, I think it's time to do the final test. They're all set up.
It would seem so. I'm going to call it. Bring on the head-on collision.
From each end of the 1,280-foot track, the identical 1.5-ton cars take off. Both cars gain speed as they head headlong down the track towards their head-on collision. Then, as both cars reach 50 miles per hour,
It's about to happen.
the cables uncouple.
That was spectacular.
What can you say?
What can you say? That breathtaking finale is the final piece of their physics puzzle. And as the Mythbusters survey the wreck of a two-car 50-mile-per-hour pileup, they're playing Spot the Difference.
There's a windshield between them.
It's pretty evident, isn't it?
It really is.
It looks just like the 50-mile-an-hour against a wall crash.
And nothing like the 100.
Nope.
Amazing. This tells me the whole story. I don't need to see the accelerometer data or anything. These two cars, which hit each other at 50 miles an hour, look exactly like the car we smacked into the wall at 50 miles an hour. That tells me everything I need to know.
Well, the figures are in. The orange car got 52 Gs, the yellow car got 58 Gs, which, give or take a few Gs, is the same as what we got against a wall at 50 miles an hour.
Gee whiz. And the damage data backs up those numbers. Both of the cars are virtually the same length as the 50-mile-per-hour wall test at 11.5 feet. And after a spectacular spree of automotive mayhem, there is irrefutable proof that those physicist fans had it right. Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, holds true. Although the two-car crash at 50 miles per hour doubles the speed, the energy of the crash is transferred to twice the mass, halving it, resulting in a crash that looks like just one car into a wall at 50 miles per hour.
I made a statement that 2 cars hitting each other at 50 miles an hour was the same as 1 car hitting a solid wall at 100. That was a mistake, but you know what? I'm okay with it. That's how you learn stuff.
I love smashing stuff for science.
One way or another, it's all just shrapnel.